Hello and welcome to episode 157 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
And I'm Bill. And I want to start us off this week. Big time's coming up with this vote by the NFL Players Association. And despite the fact all these senior players are saying don't go for it and being very vocal about it, like Aaron Rodgers, Marquise Pouncey, and Russell Wilson, a number of players.
Michael Thomas, who's not really a veteran. I mean, he just got his first contract. He's still like 25, 26. He's a younger guy,
Yep. And he's against it too, right?
Very against it. Adamantly against it, one could say. Down here in New Orleans.
But everybody gets a vote, and you only need 60% to pass it. And most of the guys that are going to be voting aren't making a lot of money. And one of the first things that contract does is it gives them a cash influx, raises salaries significantly in the first year, and it adds an additional game check. So, and a lot of guys know they're not like in 4 years they won't be in the league anyhow. So it's going to pass, and they're going to get their 17th game. And I'll tell you what, Jason, I'll make the prediction right now on our show. At about the 5-year mark, the NFL owners will want to reopen and go for the 18th game, which is what they wanted all along.
Of course.
How many leagues play an odd number of games now? Right? Nobody play an even number of games. So you know that the end game is 18. 17 is just a Rubicon. You got to cross something and to get to 18. You're not going to have 2 games right away. But if you go to 1, they'll monitor the injuries. They'll come back and say why we need to do this. And the network's all eating up again, I guess. We'll see. Depends how much money. The whole thing's going to be interesting. See what the networks are willing to offer for one more week of NFL.
It's true. Do you think they'll pass the extra playoff game this time as well, or you think that'll get pushed away for now?
I don't think it'll happen. It won't happen this year.
Okay.
It'll happen though, because again, that's another week.
Yeah. And do you think with this additional week are we going to get to see 1 or 2 more active, up the roster from 55 to 57 or 58, or do you think that's still not going to happen?
No, I think that'll happen, and that'll be a way of saying, okay, if case players get injured, here you go. Here's what we're going to do. And then they really are adding an extra game because we know the players don't play in that fourth. The starters don't play, and the veterans don't play that much anyhow.
Yeah.
But where nobody's talking though, and I was hoping the coaches would talk about this, is losing that exhibition game really makes it hard to find talent to make those decisions and everything. So here's the unintended consequence: the XFL might become a place for all those players who got cut to play and prove themselves, and then they all go in the NFL the next year, or a significant portion of them do. So this could help this contract could really help the XFL.
True. I assume do you think if they started getting some better players and the ratings went up, they would significantly increase their cap? Because at least with the USFL, from what I've read, the USFL was competitive pay wise, where the XFL.
And that's why it failed, because they weren't bringing in the money they were paying out.
Right, but you're not going to be able to sustain you're not going to be able to keep people. I mean, if you're a good enough player to start in the XFL, you're not going to worry about signing a long-term deal with the XFL. You'll be fine one-upping every year, knowing that you got a shot at the NFL, right? Like you're not going to.
Yep. I mean, USFL had Doug Flutie, Herschel Walker. I mean, they had a bunch of it. Jim Kelly was in that league. There was a bunch of players.
Yeah.
They had a lot of named players. And it's just when they decided when Trump convinced them they could go play in the fall, then the whole thing fell apart. So if McMahon's committed to the spring, he committed to controlling costs, and they start, guys don't get a real chance to show themselves in NFL training camps, and so the talent improves, then it's pretty interesting.
And I think, like you said, I think they need to expand. They need to get out of the cities they're in and get to cities that don't have, that they could be.
Obviously, St. Louis is averaging almost 30,000 a game.
Yeah.
So San Antonio, San Diego, Portland, Oregon. I mean, there's a number of markets. Indianapolis, Milwaukee, because they only play. I think they used to play a game in Milwaukee. I think they play them all in Green Bay now.
Yeah.
But Milwaukee would be a possibility. Wherever you go, they view as pent-up demand. But I watched the New York game yesterday, and they were definitely not packed in at the lower bowl in New York yesterday.
No.
Although the stat was they've now won as many games only playing 4 times as the Giants did playing 10.
Yeah, that's not tough to do.
No.
And I think you can keep throwing that number out there, but it's still, you can't really compete that way.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And the other thing people have been bringing up more and more lately with the Dak Prescott contract and the Tom Brady money and some of the other quarterback things on the line is that, the reality is it seems like it's tough to pay no team is committing more than a certain percentage to their quarterback. And, is there anything you can do with that quarterback contract to take parts of it off the salary cap or something? Because, the quarterback's obviously going to keep demanding the highest, You want to have the best quarterback. You got to pay the best money. When you pay your quarterback the best money, it's rare that you win because it's tough to commit.
Look how much they have committed to Dak Prescott and Zach Elliott.
Oh yeah.
Look at the percentage. That would be. I bet you that's over 30% of the payroll for those 2 players.
Right, which is just unsustainable in a situation where you're playing almost 55 guys a week, and this is just 2. No matter how important those 2 are.
It's going to be tough. We'll see what happens. I guess the Brady thing's getting more and more legs as this Dak Prescott thing plays out.
Yeah. Well, the Brady thing, it is exciting because part of me wants to, there is the selfish part of me that wants to see him not on the Patriots because I think the Patriots become infinitely less scary. Despite his great,
Patriots they don't appear to me the Patriots have a plan B unless they're going to sign Phillip Rivers or somebody that,
Well, don't forget the Red Rocket is out there, and he seems like a Belichick type guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Or he could, design an offense with Marcus Mariota and give him, the second overall pick from a while back, another shot. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he runs, It will
be interesting because Belichick is probably figuring out what his plan B is going to be right now. And his plan B is probably a lot better than other people's plans A.
It has typically been. And again, they still play in a division where nobody is really, as good as Buffalo is, it still seems like Josh Allen's going to make a considerable leap at quarterback for them to really change their, to become the team in that division. And I don't know.
The Jets are still light years away.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are light years away, but they have 3 first-round picks, so we'll see.
They have 3 first-round picks. I like that coach down there. And, it's hard to say. And then I guess that brings us to what's already becoming the main sports headline on almost everything, and that's the NFL Combine. People wondering how high somebody jumped, how fast they ran.
Well, you're a Combine guy. What are your takeaways from the Combine?
Anthony Simmons looks like an absolute. He needs, like the people said, if somebody uses that guy, he's going to be an absolute stud. He's 6'4", 230. He ran a 4.39 40. He can cover tight ends. He can play linebacker. He's quick. He's fast. He looks like outstanding. A lot of the receivers. I think they said there's 19 receivers with a first or second round grade. But I guess the big thing is Jalen Hurts had a really nice combine, and scouts are saying that he looks like he's a different quarterback than he was even that last year at Oklahoma. And that was a guy that, won a national championship at Alabama. Can run, ran a 4.5 40. He's an intriguing guy, Like especially with Lamar Jackson, like he didn't have the career Lamar Jackson had probably throwing the ball, but if you convert if you make a similar commitment to build your offense around Jalen Hurts, like maybe he could be really good. That Jordan Love out of Utah State is sneaking into the top 15 as a quarterback. And then you obviously have, Herbert, Tua, and Burrow. So, another influx of young quarterbacks never hurts. Looks pretty good.
So they thinking Jalen Hurts is a first-round pick or not?
No, I think he's still a day 2 pick, but you never know when you read the scout notebooks. But I can't help but read all that stuff because I'm obsessed with the NFL. And they're just saying that, he's got some nice college tape. He's a guy that, when he's in the room, other guys are drawn to him. Like he's got that intangible quarterback quality that Mariota didn't seem to have and Justin Herbert doesn't seem to have. Like he's got that moxie, that leadership and that he apparently has been working really hard on his, they said his drops and his footwork and all that stuff looks really good. And he's got the physical arm strength to just, can he, put it all together. And again, you look at a guy like Josh Allen that doesn't have all the tools. Like maybe, in the right system with the right coaching, like maybe he could be somebody, And I've always liked him because I thought he handled his situation in Alabama tremendously. And then the other big thing is people say that Tua is still technically the best quarterback, despite Burrow having maybe the greatest year of any quarterback ever. But, 3 lower body injuries is pretty significant.
Here's my Steeler moment.
Okay.
That the Steelers drafted T. Martin in the 5th round, and then Tom Brady went in the 6th.
Well, T. Martin did something Peyton Manning was never able to do at Tennessee.
That's true. But he wasn't a great NFL player.
No, he was not. I do want to know what Kevin Colbert's smoking with his Ben Roethlisberger take. That he thinks this Ben Roethlisberger could be better than Ben Roethlisberger's ever been. I know that's sort of the stance you have to take with the money you committed to him as a GM. And insane money they committed to Ben Roethlisberger. Like, teams weren't willing to commit that money to Brady or Breeze or Rivers or Manning. And yet Kevin Colbert gave Ben Roethlisberger that giant $60 million extension that doesn't even kick in until next year. So, and here's my sad Steeler moment for right now. The only quarterback with more picks and interceptions than Jameis Winston since 2015 is Ben Roethlisberger. And he missed a year. So, that's not great.
No, it's not.
But we'll talk more about, our we'll just focus on future football players.
Get ready for the draft.
Yeah.
And we're sitting out day one. Let's talk NBA because the NBA's become a lot of fun lately.
A lot of fun.
Young money.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Luka Doncic a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he's my preseason MVP pick, but he's not going to get it.
No, that injury really slowed him down. And
like where he is.
Yeah, the ankles still bother him a little bit, but he's just turned 21. He turns 21 next month, or just turned 21 this month.
I think he just turned 21.
Yeah. And Jason Tatum, another 21-year-old, has just been absolutely taken to another level. He looks like a different player this year. He looks more decisive.
John Morant is going crazy.
As is Zion, his counter.
And as is Trae Young. But unfortunately, Trae Young doesn't have a lot of people to play with.
No, and I know we've never been giant Trae Young fans on. I don't want to, but Trae Young also, where the other guys look like they're great players, I fear that Trae Young could be one of those good guys, bad stat team, or good stats, bad team guy. Like, I think when you're the only guy and your team is constantly losing and you're able to hold the ball, almost the entire time you're there and have like a James Harden-like ability to just control everything and take 30 shots a game. And again, it's not to say he's not skilled, but, he still can't. He's never going to be able to play defense with his size. And
now, did you see him get lit up last night, though?
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing that thing where he's throwing the ball in front of him and then juking out the guy. And the guy looks for the ball, and he's gone. He's passed him. He's running through people's legs before and everything else. And last night, the guy just hammered him with a shoulder. It was, Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
Popped him pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something he's going to have to, because he's been very cocky and confident. Like, I'll give him one shout out. Like, I did like, after he yelled, "It's over," and then Jimmy Butler and the Heat just continued to win the game. He did come back against the Heat and put up that 51 points the next time and get the win, which was really good to see.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of his. He reminds me of the worst parts of James Harden and the worst parts of Carmelo Anthony.
He does have those things going for him. But I think we have two James Harden things to talk about.
I still think he's not a guy that makes everybody better.
No.
Whereas John Morant is.
Yeah, and I
know. I think Lonzo Ball's had a good year.
Lonzo's had a great year. I mean, he's out of the shadow of LeBron and the Lakers, and he's away from his dad. And I think the league is finally letting him just be himself and not be like, "Your dad talks so much shit, we're going to destroy you tonight."
Yeah.
But he's improved his shooting every year. He's a great passer. Like, he does have that sixth sense of passing. And, you know, it's good to see. It's nice to see, especially here in New Orleans.
I think it's good that he's out of the major market spotlight too.
Yeah. And again, I know his dad has been ramping back up, but I think his dad's unfortunately going to throw that on the youngest son is going to get all the, you know, WWE wrestling style hype moments from his dad, talking about how he's already the greatest player ever, and the Lakers should trade LeBron and AD to make sure they get him, and all that other ridiculous stuff he'll probably come out with. So, you know,
well, it'll be ridiculous. There's no question about that.
But what do you think of the small ball Rockets, who had another big win in Boston last night? The real small ball team for the first time ever, I think.
You know what? I like it's the regular season.
Yeah.
People play differently in the playoffs, and as much as the NBA doesn't admit it, they call games differently in the playoffs.
Oh.
So we're gonna have to see how it goes.
I mean,
D'Antoni's always been a good offensive coach.
Yes.
But can that team stop anybody?
No, definitely not. I mean, Russ is not even a great defender. Harden definitely not, and now they know. But I mean, and you know, but I will say that like
Russ is like 3 times the defender Harden is.
Yeah, and he's not even. Yeah, they're both terrible. But it does seem like you invested all this to get Russ. Ultimately, you know, you gave up all the picks for Chris Paul and everything else, and yada yada yada, and you ended up with basically Russ. This is the first time that they put Russ in a position where he can look like an all-star. Like, he's been killing it the last 2 months.
Yeah. Because, you know, like you talk about with the Sixers, and you say you can either have Embiid or you can have Simmons. You can't have both.
Right.
Because Simmons can't play because the mill's clogged up. So what you do with Russ and Harden is there's nobody clogging up the middle, so they got free range all over the court.
Yeah.
And while that's good, what do you do if Houston matches up against the Bucks? I mean, who's going to guard Giannis on that team?
Right, and more importantly, before they would even see the Bucks, they've got to get through 2 of the biggest players on the planet, in Anthony Davis and LeBron James, for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Those guys are going to have their way. I can't see them being the Lakers. I can't see them being the Bucks.
No, and then I mean this in a non-joking way, despite the 2 names I'm also going to bring up. But the Lakers also have Dwight Howard, who's having a career resurgence, and JaVale McGee, who's a much better player than he gets for all the dumb, you know, the time that Charles Barkley will roast him for doing something dumb. JaVale McGee's still a giant man that can play basketball. And the Lakers have all those guys. So, I mean, James Harden is going to have to just be absolutely on fire in that series. And getting a lot of calls that's going to be tough to get when you're going against AD. You know, the 3 superstars all at once. But I do another.
I could easily see the Lakers and the Bucks in the finals.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that series.
I could easily be convinced that that's what it's going to be.
But speaking of the Bucks,
I do like the small ball Rockets.
Yeah.
Better than I like the other Rockets.
Oh, without a doubt. And speaking of Rockets, I like the James Harden Giannis pseudo beef that they're both sort of now playing down. But I like that, you know, Giannis talked a lot of shit about James Harden when he was not picking him for the All-Star game. You know, with his I want a guy that's going to pass me the ball. And then I thought Harden's thing was a little stupid to claim that it's easy to play basketball.
He's 7 foot and dunk.
Yeah, and no skill.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's true. But I like the back and forth, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice when guys are kind of going at each other. I mean, I know that doesn't mean that's the only way to show competitiveness, but in the AAU, everybody's my friend. I can't wait to play with my best friend thing. It's nice to see them kind of like yapping at each other, even if they're probably never going to see each other in the playoffs. But it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm looking forward to actually watching a little bit of the game tonight between the Lakers and the Pelicans in New Orleans. I want to see what the crowd should be out there tonight for that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
But you know what, Jason? It's also the game, if you're a season ticket holder,
yes,
as much as you'd like to see it, you can make a lot of money on your ticket to help pay for your tickets for next year.
Right.
So a lot of people will just sell it.
It's a tough call because if you can really afford if you can afford season tickets, it's still tough to turn down all that money for that, you know.
Well, I was at the Lightning Tuesday and Thursday this week, and they played the Maple Leafs Tuesday and the Blackhawks on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you, the crowd was at
Oh.
than 40% for the opponent. And a lot of people, and the Lightning are sold out, so that means a lot of Lightning people were selling their tickets to people, the snowbirds that were down here, and the people down here for spring break.
Well, yeah, like you said, if you're
And
getting,
that's where you make your money. You can probably get 2 or 3 times the face value of your ticket.
yeah, you can't beat it.
No, I couldn't believe the number of opposing, because hockey fans are really legit about wearing the jerseys of their team, their sweaters, if you would. And I just couldn't believe how many Toronto sweaters and how many Blackhawks sweaters I saw this week.
Oh wow, that's like down here we have the Airbnb problem for Mardi Gras, where people get a little frustrated with everybody's neighbors selling out their house, but you can pay a month or two's rent by giving up a weekend, essentially, and it's it's tough to turn that money down, even if you have money. It's just a good business decision.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see the place I rented, so I'm excited to come down on Thursday to check in.
Yeah. In baseball, the Astros are continuing to get booed and heckled and hit. Yeah.
I saw a clip on ESPN that just showed batters getting hit.
Yeah.
And I mean, to the Astros players' credit, I mean they know it's coming, so you just get hit and run to first base. There's no charging them on. There's no bitching. There's no moaning. There's nothing. They know they're going to get it. They just get it and go. And hopefully it's going to end. I think they just hope it's going to end pretty soon.
That's what I was wondering. Like, obviously, the anger is palatable right now.
Oh.
But by the time April 1st runs around, is it April 1st opening day?
No, actually, it's like March 28th, I think it is.
Okay. How long do you think this creeps into the regular season? Like, I feel like the first time you have the Astros at home, the crowd's going to be out, they're going to be yelling, they're going to be booing, the anger's going to be there. But how many months into the season before it's really not even an issue, do you think?
Well, I think the second time you play them if you're in the American League, it's over.
And then obviously, if the Astros perform well, and they're at least, a contender through the All-Star break, and people's batting averages aren't plunging, then that story probably goes away a little bit more too. It's sort of like the Brady Deflategate situation, where it's like, you deflated footballs, and it's like, yeah, but you threw for 500 yards in the second half and 10 touchdowns. So obviously, if you did it or didn't do it, it didn't really make a difference. So that's going to mean they've got and in baseball, that extra pressure, which I feel, it's there in every sport, but I feel like when you're up there by yourself, needing to get a hit,
you can. We're saying right now, the Astros know what's coming on the first pitch. Fastball at your head.
Yeah.
They don't need anybody stealing signs for that one.
No, they don't. And you get to get ahead in the count, which is what you want to do anyway. So maybe it's a positive for them.
But I got to tell you though, they'd be getting ahead in the count because they'd be getting hit with the first pitch. They're not wasting any time.
No.
They're sending that message and they're not missing. They're hitting them in the middle of the back. So.
Yeah. Policing themselves, I suppose.
Yep. So college basketball. Interesting. I saw the top 4 seeds. Kansas, Baylor, San Diego State, and Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the first time ever there's no ACC team in the top 4.
Yeah, no Duke, no North Carolina, not even a Virginia. Yeah,
But there's no ACC, no SEC, no Big Ten, no Pac-10. How about that?
Now, you were a big college basketball fan. You go to the tournament every year.
I was.
You were? Okay.
Yeah. I still go with my guys every year.
Yeah.
We're going to games here in Tampa. But it's not like it used to be. I mean, I used to be able to follow a player for 2 or 3 years and really like a team. And now, I like Gonzaga because I know they all stay there for 4 years. That's the only team. If I see Gonzaga and I see them in this year and I see them again next year, I at least recognize some bodies.
Well, that's what just because I glanced at an article this week on the Ringer. I know a couple of the guys, that are considered top picks, but I've never been less excited for an NCAA tournament than I am this year, I think. And I've gone down a little bit every year, but this year, there's no Zion, there's no John Moran, I don't know who I'm supposed to be excited to even, like an individual guy to even watch.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
Like I'm gonna have to hope that there is we need a Cinderella this year to really come out and capture the attention for the first weekend to get some, for me to get excited about it.
This year, the only time I've really watched basketball was Oklahoma State was on, because I'm going to see what they have now before this second and third best player in the United States joins them next year. So I've been watching them, and they're fun to watch, but they're not any good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a game. I think they're 15 and 14 now. So we're smelling NIT.
But I mean, yeah. You look at the NBA draft. The John Wiseman from Memphis, who's not playing since I don't know before December because of the NCAA violation, is considered a top 5 pick. Lonzo's Ball kid from Australia is considered a top 5 pick. There's a couple international guys that nobody really knows about that are potential top 10 picks. Like, it's just not that. There's
I guess this guy for Duke.
Yeah, and then there's a guy for Georgia, and there's good players, and I don't want to disrespect any of the college basketball, but
People don't know who they are or where they are.
I don't know who they are, where they are. I'm not even sure what they're good at. And Zion's obviously a physical freak that brings charisma, and he had hundreds of thousands of fans in high school. Like, you're not going to get that every year, but there's just nobody to get excited about. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
The NBA's been great, so I still got my basketball fix, but we're in March, and I don't even know if I would fill out a bracket at this point. Partially because I haven't watched.
I want to change pace right now and talk about my experience the other day at Top Golf.
Yes, Top Golf.
All right. So here's how I describe Top Golf. Ski ball with a golf club.
Okay.
You have a bunch of targets, and you each get 20 balls. You can hit all 20 at once, so you can hit 5 or you can hit 10, do whatever. And you've got different targets, different clubs, and you just hit the balls and try and get the points. So there's close ones that are, you can probably, and there's different points within the target. Like the middle is it's kind of like a dartboard.
Okay.
There's all these little trays, and each tray has a certain numerical value, but you don't know that from where you are hitting them. You just know the closer you are to the middle, the more points you get, and the further you are from the driving range, the more points you get.
Okay. Now, if I'm going there on a Friday night, how much am I spending?
I don't know, because this was all covered in our event.
Oh, okay.
But, you don't have to be a good golfer to go there.
Right.
You have a bay that you sit in with real comfortable furniture. You got waiter waitress service, and you got TV.
Okay.
So it's a sports bar with a skee ball golf.
Like I said, I've always been interested in them. I'm not even sure if we have one down here. I have to look into it. But I always wondered, I know what a night of bowling costs typically. Or if I go to the bar and I do play darts or something, I know what that's going to cost me. I just didn't know, if I'm not a big golf person, but we could still have fun with golf. I just was curious I'll have to look into that for next week and see what it costs. Because I think that's important, as you're trying to grow that as a legitimate Friday night activity. Obviously people make different amounts of money, but, how much you're willing to spend to do that.
But it's one of those things, Jake, the concept is so simple.
Yeah.
I think once you go, you kick yourself in the ass because you say, I can't believe I didn't think of this.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way I described the skee ball with a golf club. That's all it is.
And adults, whether it's Dave and Buster's with the giant cell phone games, people still love a chance to, drink and play games. And
hang out with your friends.
And yeah, like you said, it's a great concept. I don't know what the next one is. The next sport you could do that with. But
I don't know, but I would do this again.
Okay. Very nice.
But I think it's kind of like, when you go bowling, you rent a lane for so long, however many games you can play within that time. That's what you can do. Or other places you go and you pay by the game.
Right.
This you pay by the time.
That's nice. I like that.
So if there's 2 of you in the bay, then you can play a whole bunch of games. But if there's 5 or 6, you could probably play at least twice. So you hit 40 balls within that time. Probably hitting 40 balls is probably enough for a lot of people.
I think so. Well, I do have a food moment this week.
Great. What you got?
We went to Barracuda yesterday, which is a fairly recent taco place. Right off the bat, I knew I was excited. It's a beautiful little place. Like you go inside, you order, then you get your little flag, and outside they've got a bunch of multicolored picnic tables to sit at. Their menu is basically one page. They make tacos, quesadillas, and nachos. Nothing else. They make all their tortillas in-house, which is obviously a great thing. You got chicken, pork, fish, a lot of different variety. Really good queso. They make a number of drinks, and they make like, they do like a mimosa, but they have fresh squeezed juices to go with it. And pretty reasonably priced, I would say, too. And a lot of variety. And like, the brisket tastes different than obviously the meats taste different, but they have different seasonings on the brisket, the chicken, the pork, the fish. So you get a variety of flavors as well. And that's in the Warehouse District down here in New Orleans. And again, we typically said, like, if you have a restaurant that really, like, we do this, and they're not trying to give you 50 things on the menu, it's usually a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what we do really well. Enjoy. And they do that really well. And again, I don't think it's been open that long, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think the food at the Lightning game, they have a Holy Hog barbecue.
Yeah, we like
Holy
Hog.
I haven't been to Holy Hog in quite a while.
Yeah.
And I forgot how good Holy Hog was.
It's great.
Yeah. So it does well in the arena.
Oh, yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things about concession stands in an arena is when you're looking for food, you either want it to look good or smell good, right?
Well, ideally both, yeah.
Ideally both. And Holy Hog looked good and smelled good. And a lot of the other stands had no smell at all.
No, but as we said before, if you can't smell the barbecue, you don't want to eat that barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that's true of most places, but barbecue in particular, you really need to smell the barbecue from, a decent distance away to really be able to experience it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, like Ford's Garage is in there. And the food at Ford's Garage looks really good. But I've eaten at Ford's Garage before, and I don't think it's all that.
No, Ford's Garage, that's the one that's like a burger. It's a chain burger place with the Ford car company that sort of is the aesthetic. Yeah. We were excited to try there, and it was just, the burgers were just eh. I mean, they're not bad by any stretch, but,
I haven't been back to Walk-Ons here since I talked about it, but Walk-Ons is much better sports bar concept than most of the places I've been to.
Yeah, that's the one we have down here. It's out of here, right? Out of New Orleans, that's the one?
It's out of here, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But the food's really good.
Yeah, I need to go there at some point.
And it's a huge quantity.
Which is, probably not needed, but it's always appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, a buffalo chicken sandwich there is a lot of buffalo chicken.
Yes. I would follow up on I know I talked about Joe Hill's Lock and Key that we started last week.
Mm-hmm.
We finished it. Kind of disappointing. They felt like they really they made a lot of plot decisions to get to a second season, even if they didn't make any sense in the context of everything you'd showed me up to that point. Maria's even she's noted that I've been visibly upset by the show. And it's poor plotting and plot devices and plot holes you could drive a truck through over I haven't gotten over it. I felt like they wasted part of my time with their badness. So
that's a shame.
It is. But I'm still loving The Outsider, which is fantastic.
And I'm looking forward to episode 9 tonight as well.
Yes.
We watched The Good Liar for the second time, and it's still one of the best movies I saw all of last year.
Very nice.
So I would definitely recommend that. And we'll remind everybody that Jason and I will be together in New Orleans eating at 3 restaurants this week. At least 3 dinners.
And a breakfast.
And then a couple breakfasts and different things like that. So we will be commenting and posting pictures, and we'll give our food reviews on the show next week.
Yes.
If you're visiting New Orleans.
Yes. And a special shout out to, I don't think I've mentioned Curb Your Enthusiasm in a while, but the new season is up. And if you like Curb, you're going to love this. It's still great.
And you know, it's funny, Jason. I watched Curb last week, and I hated it.
Vince Vaughn was on, Dad.
I know.
And John,
I just don't like Larry David as an actor.
okay, and John Hamm's on this season. I mean, it's you know, it's you know.
I know. I think Larry David is a great writer, but the show has a lot. It reminds me a lot of Seinfeld.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's the creator. You know,
Larry David is not the guy to pull it off. To me, that's my own bias. I just don't like him as an actor.
Yeah, he's the real life George Costanza. I mean,
he's even worse of a person than George Costanza.
Oh yeah,
if at all possible.
If at all possible, yes, without a doubt, he's the worst. Yeah, but I mean, that's you know, again, I get it because I mean, you either love him or you don't. But I mean, it you know, it. As I said, it's the same. You know, and John Hamm's coming up, and you love John Hamm.
Yeah, I like Vince Vaughn, but Vince Vaughn wasn't enough to get me to like the show.
Yeah, well, if Vince Vaughn didn't get you, you're not gonna. I mean, you've had 9 seasons, and you're a Seinfeld fan. Like, if you would have liked it, you would have already liked it.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's
So
it. I mean, I guess I'm going to be watching. You know, it's my favorite time of year in that I watch all those basketball tournaments whenever I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
And I love all the team that's 500 has a chance to win the tournament, or a team with a losing record has a chance to win the automatic bid. I like that. I like that week. I mean, this week is it's the table set. Everybody's got a shot to get in the tournament. I love that.
Oh, it's very much. It's fun.
Even if I don't know who it is or where they are, but I like the concept this week.
Yes. All right. Next week we'll be talking a lot of food, probably.
A lot of food next week.
All right. So until next time.